Hello and live from the infamous Murph's Pub, I'm Jeremy Taylor. Welcome to this week's Wednesday Night Undressed. Recorded in front of a live audience, sort of alive, the podcast that reaches into the wobbly places other podcasts daren't venture. We don't claim to look at things scientifically, but we definitely have all the answers to your mysteries, vegetable, animal and mineral. We know the kings and queens of England and questions most political. In short, we can explain matters mathematical, physical and medical. We are the only naked podcast you can undress to on a Wednesday night whilst wallowing in your bath. We have all sorts of interesting things going on tonight. We will be discussing pictures and food. We may even give away a recipe. Oh yes. Joining us today so far, we've got Meredith, Cassidy, Andrei's with us, Lewis, Fernando, and of course Kathleen.
Hello.
Evo is on a sort of leave of absence. Evo and Alena are. And I don't know about the other guys who normally turn up, so it's just a small crowd of us joining in tonight. So first thing, Arizona has passed a law that prohibits video recording of law enforcement within 8 feet of the enforcement, and the ACLU and news organizations are suing. Do you think the law will be upheld? My first question, which I'd like you to consider as well, is how do we know 8 feet? Do we go to the police officers who are beating the shit out of somebody, say, could you just wait a second while I measure 8 feet? So I don't know, it's sort of like a body length, or how do you know? Fernando. I've come to Fernando first.
I mean, you know, if you have a phone, some phones you can also do a measurement. If you have an iPhone, you can, and then you can keep your line of your saved line and still document the crime.
You know how long your phone is, and you put it down 10 times.
Fernando when he's in mid IT
thing. Yeah, but it's another stupid law, but. You know, it's just another excuse to... I don't know, it's just another pathetic stuff, basically.
So they're beating someone up. And
so what happened if you're a little closer? He's going to start beating you.
Within 7 feet. Does that mean it's inadmissible in court, Lewis?
Oh, that's good.
So my belief is that, no, it probably wouldn't be inadmissible in court. It could be, though. My belief is that it's going to be... rationale for police to physically take whatever you're using to record. Right. If a policeman says you have violated this space, you just simply won't have the ability to record that anymore.
You won't have a recording of it. You won't be able to prove how far away you actually were. So it could happen if you were recording from across the street. Kind
of how I envision this going down. So it'll be interesting to me to see if the law actually stands, because it's just so facially, what's the word I want to use? Nefarious. But we have this tendency to protect our police in this country against any perception of wrongdoing. We even give them qualified immunity. So I'm not sure that this is gonna be overturned.
Isn't that perception that, you know, the tendency to protect the police and believe that they never do anything, isn't that shredding day by day?
I mean, I personally feel I could care less if it's 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard for us to figure out 8 feet after 2 years of 6 feet. However, this is a law that specifically is targeting people of color, because being able to record an officer approaching your vehicle has turned out to be the only thing that we have been able to use to prove that we as a segment of the culture are being persecuted consistently and without reason and without purpose. This is a targeted racist law, period. And I don't expect for it to be overturned either, because that is the direction so many other places are going. However, it doesn't change the fact that that's exactly what this is. This is aimed at getting people of color to stop fighting for their own rights and stop standing up for their own rights, because at what point when you are approaching me and encroaching on my 8 feet, then at what point is it that you get to confiscate my phone when you are approaching me to harass me?
Good point.
So I really don't think that that perception, that willingness to protect our police, to believe them, is getting any better. I believe that there have been such egregious cases of malfeasance, misconduct by the police, that the court system hasn't had any choice but to find, like, literally 3 sets of cops guilty within the last year that have made the news. Outside of that, the amount of police brutality that goes on that's just simply unreported continues to go unabated. I don't know that the court system recognizes any of the pushback that the regular populace is starting to put on this idea that, hey, maybe the cops are going a little bit too far.
Well, they want to defund the FBI now, so maybe.
Maybe.
I'm going to come to Andrei, but before I do, I happened to be out in the middle of nowhere the other day with a farmer type person. I was getting a tractor, and we were talking about, for some reason, the police, and maybe it was this question. I said, what do you think? And he said, they're all bullies. They're all people who didn't do very well in the football team at school, and they were probably bullied, and they're all bullies. And this is a man who has to be in his 70s, ex-contractor farmer type person, who you would think almost certainly would be a Trump voter, far-right Republican and everything else. And that's what he said about him. Andrei, what do you think?
I don't really understand the question. Like, what am I...
Well, what they're saying is Arizona has just passed a law that prohibits video recording of law enforcement officers, right, while they're doing whatever they're doing to somebody, and they are saying you can't do that anymore.
Which has the effect, as you point out, of if you're stopped in your car, you're not allowed to film the officer walking up to your car because he's getting too close for you to film, and you have to put your camera down.
And not just you in your car. If you're riding in the car with some of your buddies and a cop comes over and you're just riding in the passenger seat or in the back seat because it's all less than 8 feet away from the driver's side window, like, none of you guys that are in the car have the ability to film what's going on between the cop and this guy. Right or wrong, nobody has that ability. Like, it's really going to be up to people that are outside the vehicle. So that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sounds pretty stupid. But...
It's
yeah,
not right,
it just sounds pretty stupid to not be able to do that.
I mean, the press is fighting the law, but it's not the press
Yeah.
that it's aimed at. It's aimed directly at people of color and marginalized societies who are trying to protect themselves from police brutality. That's directly who it's aimed at.
Is it
8
just...
feet is not for CNN.
Is it just in Arizona?
I didn't even think about the cars, and that happens a lot. Most of the harassment, just
In Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Cassidy?
See, like, if something were to happen in a car, like, you can't do anything about that. So that's not really cool. Also, like, measuring out 8 feet every time seems like you could lose, like, a lot of potential incriminating evidence against the police officer. So that's what I
Very few
think.
vehicles are over 8 feet long or wide.
yeah, you gotta
From
have
side
a
to
very
side, I
large,
mean.
like a minibus, and you gotta go to this. When
And
to
if you get out of your
over.
car and walk away from
yeah,
it,
and if
Then
you
you're
get out of
fleeing.
then you're fleeing.
and you're fleeing, and I mean that's
It's entrapment is what it is.
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you think the law will be upheld?
Unfortunately, yes.
Can
But
we
that's
get
because
some
of the makeup of the
over
government
8 foot
there.
long selfie sticks.
Right?
Camera's out the
right.
window.
But
Right.
then you're pulling a weapon out, and I mean they
Right?
felt
I
trash.
know.
Then
It
it's
was
a
a weapon.
baton, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
It's a weapon. You're about to
Well-
attack someone.
Lewis.
So, I don't know. This law infringes upon so many rights of people that aren't involved in the law enforcement episode, that I would actually kind of be shocked. Well, I shouldn't say shocked. I would be pleasantly surprised, I'll say it that way, if the law actually gets overturned. Like, I think that is more likely that the law is there to stay than to go away. But it's just such a nasty law. I can't imagine that, like, this would go to the Supreme Court and that they would let it stand. On the other hand, this is the same Supreme Court.
But, Republicans used to believe in the freedom to privacy, and they don't anymore. So that's,
Yeah, but it's... I agree.
Other
Anything.
people's privacy.
But yes.
I do miss, I have to say, that wonderful show West Wing. And the president was appointing, I think, a Hispanic guy to be the Attorney General. And this guy's driving towards Washington and rain and what have you, and he gets pulled over by some law enforcement out in the middle of nowhere. And he decides that he's not going to not cooperate, but he's not going to give them everything they want. So they arrest him, put him in a jail and what have you. He's allowed one call. So he calls the White House. Right. They send a couple of guys down, and the old sheriff isn't even prepared to come out of his office, because they think it's all, And until the deputy happens to be looking at a newspaper, and there's a picture in the newspaper, there's a picture of the guy standing in front of him, who's one of the advisors from the White House.
It's a sort of lucky thing you can put in a TV show.
Yeah. And I miss it actually working out. It's when, as you say, people of colour and white kids as well. It's not always people of colour.
No, it's also socioeconomic as well. Children in lower income communities, regardless of their colour,
get pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to my kids and saying, look, this is not England. This is not England. If you get pulled over, you keep your hands on the steering wheel. You don't argue with the officer because he's got a gun and you haven't. It's different thing. But one of the other things that videos do is they...
Jeremy said doo-doo.
Do.
Oh, we're going to go that level, are we? Okay.
It's only called Cassidy's here, lowering the tone. Is videoing cars. I have a video in my car. I have forward-facing and rear-facing. The forward-facing I have, which records on a loop, is great because when cyclists ride in front of me when they're not supposed to, and I knock them over and squish them, then there is, if they were to ride in front of me, or a motorcyclist comes off their motorbike in front of me, I have video to say, look, officer, I was being a good boy doing 35 miles an hour minding my own business. But it also helps with false memories. And one of the things that has come up, which they want us to try tonight, is what's known as the Mandela Effect. And this is about shared false memories. And we've all seen this on the TV over the last 6 months, 9 months last year, January the 6th, where people swear blind that something happened. Actually, it didn't. It didn't happen. So what false memories do the panel members know they suffer from? Lewis.
So, and this is called the Mandela Effect, and I'm actually guilty of this. When Nelson Mandela died, I was like, holy shit, didn't he die 10 years ago? I could have sworn that Nelson Mandela had died, when he was in prison. And so, I've seen him, since he's been released. I saw, the whole... You guys just need to see Meredith looking at me right now.
Because I knew Mandela was alive.
No, I knew he was alive,
he
too.
He came out, he went into the government,
Remember the big sort of anti-apartheid stand, I remember all of it.
President of South Africa.
But you thought he died.
But
most famous person in the book world other than the Queen.
Isn't this guy already dead? And I could not understand it. Yeah. And so for me, that was like, it made perfect sense. As soon as I saw the words Mandela Effect, I knew exactly what it was talking about because I suffered from this exact thing. So,
Kathleen.
I have what I'm told is a false memory, but I could swear I can remember running away from home with my little dog and then going back home and getting blown away in a tornado.
Yeah.
And I woke up and all these little people were around. I swear, really.
I am
does this
very worried about
regularly in the
people
middle of
that
the
I'm on
night.
this podcast with. I got to be honest with both of y'all. Woo!
No?
Lewis.
all right. So just in case I was the only person that suffered from this Mandela Effect
You are.
thing,
You're right, you
I
don't count.
brought a quiz.
Okay.
I found a bunch of items online that people seem to remember differently. That is not one of the ones that I brought with it.
How do you spell that name?
How do you spell?
Berenstain.
Beren Steen.
How do you spell Steen?
Stein.
Nope.
No!
I mean, I don't know how to spell the Berenstain. It just annoyed me
No.
that you said Bernstein, like it was like no Berenstain.
No. It's
I'm from Boston.
That's not an
What is
excuse.
it? Who did they spell
It's
it
like
then?
Frankenstein. It's
How do they
Steen,
spell
not
it?
Frankenstein.
Berenstain. Stainn. And I have
Berenstain.
if I see the book in my head.
Does that imply the dog, the bear is peeing or something?
Well, I don't know what it implies, but
Honestly, I
my
don't know
whole
that I read that
memory
far into the
of
word.
the name on the book cover is Berenstain Bears. Stein. And it in reality is Berenstain. There's no way it was that.
Huh, interesting.
It's never been Berenstain. It's always been Berenstain. But
Well, that's
I
just
thought,
like people mispronouncing things incorrectly. I mean, it wasn't like it was read on TV.
I don't think so.
or anything.
Let's try some of these items here. and Let's
Okay.
see how people do. So,
I read those books when I was younger, and I could have sworn it was spelled the other way, but whatever.
Which way?
The
Berenstain or
I-E.
Stain?
I.E.
Iron.
Yeah,
Yes.
same here. I read them too.
Yeah, me too. To my kid.
All right. First picture. You guys are familiar with Henry VIII?
I am.
What does Henry VIII have in his hand in the famous picture of Henry VIII? Is it a
Kidding me?
chicken leg or is it a pair of gloves?
Might be his Willie.
This is a 50-50 chance.
I have no clue.
From here.
Turkey leg.
Or I'm sorry, yes, turkey leg or a set of gloves.
Which one do you remember?
Which one do you remember?
I apologize. I'm not well versed enough in art history to
Yeah.
even know.
Which one? Which is the correct picture? I'm sure the gloves
I don't know
would
what
be,
this
but
picture looks like. I've
pass it
never
around.
seen it before.
Gloves.
That's going to be a hard I don't know from me. No recollection.
I really do not remember that picture having a turkey leg in it,
I never heard about that.
but maybe it does.
I mean,
It
I feel
is,
like gloves
in
is more
fact,
classy.
The gloves.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I feel like gloves is more
But
classy.
I remember the turkey leg.
We were on the same time.
Seriously.
Are you guys sure you were like, was that like next to the dogs playing poker picture of Henry VIII
That
you guys
was,
saw?
that
Okay,
was.
okay.
All
'Cause
right,
I felt
next
like
one.
the gloves would be natural.
Pikachu. Does Pikachu have a black tip on his tail or no black tip?
He has a black tip on his tail.
Black tip.
I have never
Black
actually examined Pikachu, so I couldn't
Like I
tell
had
you.
never examined Henry VIII. It all comes back around.
No.
Here's no black tip on Pikachu's tail. The official.
Incorrect.
I also feel like it's a character that's been around for 30 years, and Mario
Never
doesn't
has
look like
had
he
a
has.
black tip on his tail. Never.
Never in any drawing ever, because I
Well,
would beg
I
to
got
differ.
one right here.
I was gonna say, like, clearly somebody drew a black tip.
I thought it was like a light.
Okay. Spell Oscar Mayer. Specifically, Meyer. Is it spelled with an A or an E?
Yes.
I think it's an
M-E-Y-E-R,
A,
right?
But I honestly couldn't tell you. I think it's an A. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Oscar Mayer. I think
M-E-Y-E-R.
It is A.
Yeah.
Oscar. Well, it's Oscar Mayer, but it's spelled with an A.
So far, you're not really doing all that great at proving your Mandela effect, but okay, keep going.
This is the first one that the majority of the table has gotten.
I mean, I didn't even know the Henry VIII picture, so I feel like you're only at 1 out of 3, but okay, go ahead.
What about Curious George? Does he have a tail or no?
I never watched this.
Me either.
He was a
Curious
Pikachu
George
friend.
definitely has a tail.
He's a monkey, so I'm going to
got
say
a
yes,
tail.
he has a tail, but I have no freaking clue.
I
He could have
remember-
been in a horrific accident.
I remember.
Yeah, does he have a
He
tail?
does it. He does it.
I remember
Oh
he
my
not
God.
having a tail.
He does not have a tail.
Because I thought he
How
had
could
a
a
tail,
monkey
but
not
then
have
I
a
looked
tail?
it up, and apparently he
listen,
never
like
did.
I said, he could have been involved
know,
in some sort of industrial accident. We don't know
Maybe
what
that
happened.
was it.
Fiction.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's Curious George. Good heavens! Don't
I don't
shatter
know, the
my
man
heart.
in the yellow hat's
I'm only
definitely got
gonna do,
issues.
like, 1 or 2. Sorry, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 more.
Okay.
Does C-3PO have a silver leg or not?
He shouldn't.
No.
It's all gold.
C-3PO that had like weird
Again,
dismembered body
not
parts,
sure.
but
Sorry,
no.
know exactly who C-3PO is. Can't pull up a full.
I don't. I think it's all gold.
I would have said all gold
No clue.
too.
I don't know.
C-3PO has always had a silver leg.
Yay for
Wow.
C-3PO.
Okay.
Cool.
Somebody ran out of gold.
That's bull.
I feel like maybe some of y'all might have just done more drugs than other people, because like I didn't pay attention to half of these things. Like
Well,
more than half.
that's what you do when you.
Okay,
Doing
so let me
drugs.
take this
Right,
question on.
maybe true.
What have you found? And I'll give you an example for me. David
Copperfield.
Copperfield, whoever, starts with B.
David
Bronze.
or Bowie.
David who?
Bowie.
David Bowie. David Bowie.
Bowie.
What is he? David Bowie or David Bowie?
He's David Bowie.
Right.
Bowie.
I am the great age. I'm on the great age of nearly 45.
Take a
And
bow.
I've
that's
always
adorable, that
I know.
lie.
And I have always known him as David Bowie.
Well, you just mispronounced it incorrectly. Again, same thing as the
But
Baron.
so things you learn when you get on. So what have you
Learned as
learned
you
as you've become an
approached
adult?
30.
You're sweet. But I haven't aged past 29. I celebrate anniversaries.
All right.
So what sort of factoid like that have you got? Oh shit, I didn't know. Oh, I've always thought it was such and such.
I mean, honestly, I can't think of anything. I'm sure there have been numerous things. My mind is blanking right now, but I do have actually a false memory that I recall.
Yeah.
When I was a child, my mother and I were the victims of a domestic home invasion, and it was very violent, traumatic, and I remember it like I conflated it with the video for Thriller for Michael Jackson that was out at the time. So like I remember the guy crawling in the window, but he came in the door. I remember him having yellow eyes, but clearly that was not the case. Like I remember him going and getting the weapon from the kitchen, but that was not the case. He brought it with him. And like I know that I remember it incorrectly, but it's very odd. So so I guess I have suffered Mandela Effect, but I think that was a result of trauma.
You're a well-travelled young lady. You've been to Europe lots of times and what have you. But we're talking about false memories, right? Where something you may... I was using the example of David Bowie just now, and I've always pronounced it wrong. Or I got George and John muddled up in the Beatles and thought George was John for years. What... have you ever come across something like that?
Well, I've read about the Mandela Effect on Reddit, and that's one of the only internet conspiracy theories I like. Actually, is the Mandela Effect, which is all like maybe we've slipped in from another universe. Some people are from a parallel universe, and some people are from another. It's very complicated, but basically, their proof for it is that we misremember things, and the ones I remember from the pages that are big for me are the Berenstain Bears. I always thought it was Berenstain Bears, but it's Berenstain Bears. And I think that is just because Steen is a common name. And I don't know if I've ever met anyone with Stain as the last name. So I think that's why I remember Berenstain
Well,
and
I
not...
tried to suggest Frankenstein.
No, we
Frankenstein.
we actually talked about that particular thing and right before you walked in the
Oh,
door.
oops.
And no. The funny thing is we were arguing over whether or not it was ever Berenstain.
No,
because
y'all
we
were.
all-
I said I never read into it that deep, but y'all were.
I looked at my original copies. I keep the records. I looked at the copies at home afterwards because on the internet it kept saying stain on all the covers of it, and so I was like, at first I was like, well, that must be what it is, but then I realized that they can doctor images on the internet. Yeah. But then I looked at home and it says stain on all the printed ones, so I'm assuming that was like what it was spelled, but we all read it as steen because it just makes more sense. And you don't really read the whole word letter by letter. And even when I read the books to kids, I read steen, like just naturally. So
Meredith, you may be of this, like, because you might be old enough that like you have memories before the internet.
Are you talking about my age on a podcast?
I'm talking about your general lifespan. Yes.
I just want to apologize, Meredith. Meredith, I just want to apologize.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that.
Please, God, forgive him.
No, but see, you're the only person here that I can point this to, because Fernando's from a different country, so he wouldn't have the same rumors that traveled
I'm not.
around.
It's Mandela.
Holy shit! Are you
born here? Fernando's more American than you are, my friend.
No, like
No, you're from Brazil, Lou.
Like the Richard Gere and the gerbil memory. Do you have any record?
Richard Gere and a gerbil?
Yeah.
Was that pre-Pretty Woman?
That was way pre.
Then you're on your own, kid.
Did he eat a gerbil?
Okay, so Neil is backing me up on this. There were rumors that like people just assumed that they heard were true about celebrities all the time. Like Richard Gere was supposed to have done something, let's just say untoward with a gerbil.
Was that on the National Enquirer?
No, it never was. That's the thing. Like this stuff has never been printed, but it was like common knowledge. So,
well, it wasn't that common. I didn't know about it.
Well, see, and this is the thing. Like, you are young enough that you may not have experienced, like, this same kind of dynamic because, quite honestly, like, self-publication became a thing and this kind of thing sort of went away as a result.
I remember Jackie O being an alien and Elvis being alive for like 45 years after he died.
Yeah, no, that's all Inquirer stuff. I'm talking about, like, Rod Stewart having to have his stomach pumped after a particularly virulent
Do you
session.
just believe anything anybody says to you? Like, is
from
that
back in the 70s? Yes.
Okay, wow,
yes.
that's a personal problem right there. I don't know what to tell you about that.
Yes, without question.
This is ground zero for disinformation, people. Ground zero.
I was lied to about ketchup earlier.
It's not right. It's a terrible thing. It is a terrible thing.
All right, I want to do a couple more of these now that Alena has joined us to see if she's got the same.
That's good because I was going to tell my ketchup story.
Oh no, we're going to.
God, Jesus! Yeah. Please do the pictures.
Well,
pictures.
You know
pictures.
What? If your ketchup story doesn't involve Winston Churchill, I'm all for it. All right, let's see. So here's Uncle Sam. Is his hat blue or red? In your
red.
Just pass it around.
So cute, you guys are.
I think it's blue.
I think it's blue.
Blue.
Let's see. Which is it?
Feels like a test.
It does, yeah.
It is.
I feel like you guys are the people that looked at the pictures in the textbooks, and I'm the people that read the actual paragraphs under the pictures because I don't know.
It was blue, but I'm probably wrong.
I'm guessing red.
I'm gonna go with government propaganda.
It was in fact blue.
Okay.
Blue. Okay. That was my first impulse, but then I was like, much like a test.
How about Tony the Tiger's nose, black or blue?
Black.
Who cares?
Black makes sense.
Back
like,
of the
as an
cereal
animal,
box,
right?
not the
Like-
front.
Yeah. You're right. It does. It looks all smudgy. Let's go with blue.
Blue.
The pictures are easier to see than the text.
I can tell you what the maze looked like on the back while I tried to do it over my cereal with my pen. I can tell you about that.
No, he has a black nose.
Don't tell me.
I'm going for blue.
I'm also going for blue.
Wesley Snipes.
Not
said
voting
Oliver
again.
Bell black.
Oh, is
He
it
was
black?
wrong. No, it's blue.
Yes.
I mean, he is a tiger
I
that's
guess-
shouting about some sugary frosted flakes. He's probably snorted something to
All
turn
right,
his
one
nose
more.
blue.
Whiteout. Is it WHITE or WITE?
W-I.
I think there's no
WITE.
Yeah, it's got to be the latter. WITE.
I used it a little bit ago.
Andrei, have you ever used this device?
Don't trust her. I can tell you that as her mother. Don't trust her.
Why did you use whiteout?
See, now that's how old school I am.
I was
can't tell you
definitely
what it says
not
on the
forging
whiteout bottle
documents.
because I use the whiteout ribbon on my typewriter. You just take the ribbon out, you put in your
Oh,
whiteout
you have
ribbon.
a typewriter. That's so
Yes,
sweet.
yes. No, I used to love writing my poetry on a typewriter.
It
Yep,
is,
again,
in fact,
bowing out on this one.
white, W-I-T-E.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
job, kiddo. You nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
We get a name for it.
What artistic skill do you use every day? Don't look at me like that.
I'm just looking.
Well, stop it.
No.
Is lying an artistic skill?
I mean, in a lot of cases, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Just wondered.
I mean, in some cases, it really becomes an art form. Like, how
Yeah.
well can you deliver it?
Uh-huh.
Like, Donald Trump is a bad example. Some other people, maybe in the other political party, are a great example.
Liar.
Yeah.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
he's bad.
Yeah, he's awful.
That's why
it's sad.
people think his followers think he can't be lying. He must believe it because it's so obviously
Right.
wrong. Jeez.
Okay, so
So other than lying, do we have any other artistic?
yes, Lewis.
My love make it.
That's disgusting. That's nauseating.
We'd need evidence of that. I want film.
You want film? What
You
is
can
wrong
can
with you,
actually
Cass?
remember that
I'm
far
just
back,
daring.
can you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my Lanta.
No, I quite honestly, I thought about this for a while, and
And once you'd stop fantasizing,
once I stopped fantasizing, I started trying to think about what brings me joy, every day. Maybe
yeah, we
maybe you
have
guys would
youngsters
look at
in
it
the audience and things like that.
think that it's art, but it's art for me, and it's solving puzzles. For me, that is the thing that brings me joy. I find finding the answer in the simplest path is my art. It's what makes me happy.
Long way of saying you do the Wordle.
I do the Wordle every
Get him,
day.
Andrei. Get him.
Good one, Andrei. What's your artistic skill, Andrei?
I don't know if I would say every day. So, I don't know. I don't know if you consider kicking a football art, but that's
I
a
do.
skill.
I do.
Bend it like
I do that
Beckham.
about every day, and then I
a high
also
level of
do.
training, is it
I also
not?
do graphic design for the football, soccer, volleyball, all the sports at the school. So I do that. Not every day though. Just film
He's a good
sports for basketball, stuff like that.
Alena, what's your artistic skill?
Well,
that
if you look
use?
at my hands, you'll see that it is manically dyeing my hair in the middle of the night.
I don't know that that is art,
So-
but
Your
we're gonna let you
hands
live with
match
that.
your hair. Beautiful.
Yeah, my hands
Blue.
match my hair. It's my artistic skill, and is it really a skill because my hair doesn't ever really look that good? Is going to Walmart, buying an ombre kit, and treating it like paints instead of hair dye, and just randomly trying to paint something into my hair.
You do
Yeah.
have a skill. I've noticed occasionally on Facebook you'll post photographs, images. I'm sorry, being old there. Images of yourself where you have done something with your hair and what have you.
Oh yeah,
And
I have a
you do
skill of
have an ability
narcissism.
to do that, which is quite cool.
yeah. Well, I do like to pose, and I like to take pictures of myself and images of landscapes and stuff. I like taking the TikTok videos. I like playing around with that kind of stuff. It makes me happy. I like playing around with the camera and seeing, oh, what can I do? How can I edit things really quickly just on my own? How do I make my apartment look like it's in a jungle? How do I things with just kind of the tchotchkes in my place? Things like that are kind of fun for me to do when I don't have anything else to do. So yeah, I do like that.
Counts as art.
Cassidy,
Yeah.
what's your artistic skill do you use every day?
I like writing, and also photography, because I'll just randomly take a photo if I think it looks nice. And my phone is always out of storage.
Do you use a camera rather than your phone, or do you use your phone?
I always use my phone.
Right. And writing. See, being my age, I go back to writing. Alena gets it probably from her dad, who's an amazing photographer. What about writing? What do you write about?
I'll just write random things. Like if I had a dream about something, I'll turn it into like a short story, or just like write about like my friends or my family sometimes, randomly, or like school essays. But that's not fun. Mm-hmm.
But you can make it fun, can't you? Kathleen, what do you...
You had trouble remembering my name. I'm your wife. Jeez. Well, right. Well, I'm kind of with Lewis there. My fun comes in solving things, puzzles. I take care of a database at work, and I'm the one who makes certain that that thing is spotless. It hasn't got any duplicates of people, that everything goes right. I'm fairly maniacal about that. At the same time, I do have an art known as making a mess of your desk. I have the messiest desk in the entire universe. No?
Office.
Oh, okay.
I can't.
Uh-huh.
I'm too OCD, I swear to God. If I come in, my assistants have messed up my desk.
Well, I'm OCD about databases, not about my desk. So I don't know which is artistic.
You can't come in my office then.
Which database?
We can't say.
I can't say.
Can't say.
No, I mean, I didn't ask a password. Is that all?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So
Can't do that.
I was going to say kind of along the lines of you guys' art of solving puzzles. My knee-jerk reaction is to say dancing because I've danced my entire life and done choreography. But really the art that I engage in every single day, and I think I got this honest from my mother, is the art of debate. Like, I enjoy any conversation where you can hold your own and prove your own points. And I will go toe-to-toe, and I don't have animosity with you, but I enjoy that healthy sort of back and forth. And then the one I wish I indulged in more was, she got it honest from her mother, I write as well, so poetry.
What do you, poetry you write?
Mostly poetry, yeah. Mostly social injustice poetry.
I mean, it's a funny thing, right? I've written a number of plays and, stories and things like that. Just the blank and giggles,
Mm-hmm.
It never occurred to me that they would actually get published and broadcast, and a crew would make a thing and we'd it. Never in my wildest dreams. If you don't do it, it's never going to happen. It's usually Lewis. Have I asked you what you're artistic about?
He solves puzzles. We didn't find out.
No, I was actually asking him seriously because he was just being
He said the art of solving puzzles.
What are you
the
joking?
puzzle thing. That was my.
But what is Fernando fascinated by?
Well, like, what about aggressive driving? Like, I'm a good. I drive like an asshole, like every day. I don't remember last time I have a car wreck, and I just go insane. Never got pulled over too. But so that's one.
Okay.
Watching. What about watching
those are
TV?
famous last words. Folks.
Watching TV.
Right.
Watching TV shows.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
It is. You have to analyze. You have to argue with the
and you
television.
it's like meditation. You need to concentrate. And you need
Amen.
to watch as many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I like to cook something. Not that I make like a whole meal. I keep repeating the same thing. And I always change a little bit. And I find like some tweaks. And eventually I reach perfection and move to the next one.
Can I just add in there that I think that's Jeremy's artistic ability as well.
Chocolate biscuit cake?
No, he is very inventive about cooking. He does all the cooking at home now.
Well, that chocolate biscuit cake was fire.
Yeah. He brought chocolate biscuit cake, which is cookies and chocolate and whatever the hell else you want to put in there, and it's good
some
stuff.
gravy.
Oh, it needed gravy, yeah. But it didn't have gravy, but it could have had. And so he's good at putting stuff together without using recipes, just ideas, and coming up with really good stuff.
Andrei. Sorry, now I can come to you.
I already answered, didn't I?
He's a kicker.
Yeah,
Kicking.
kicking and
Kicking.
graphic design.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on then. In this week's Science Gone Crazy news, an American inventor has built a cyborg machine to give snakes their legs back. Is this why they hate us? I presume they mean the snakes. Now, I take the view that there are certain things on this planet that should not be allowed. Okay?
Amen.
Alligators, crocodiles, sharks, snakes.
Okay, we're going to go to Black Church here. Hallelujah, Jeremy. Preach on it.
I hear you, as they say. Those are things that the good Lord messed up,
He was a little high that day.
Hey, without snakes, we'd have a hell of a lot more rats and mice.
Bro,
Can I add
why do you
squirrels
put
to the
legs?
list?
You can, yes.
Okay,
well,
listen,
I
don't
know
hate
how
on
you
squirrels.
feel
It's
about
actually very smart.
I don't think legs on snakes are going to actually help them catch rats and mice, so I think
I
that's
don't think
kinda
they
silly.
should have snake legs, period. Like, we already have those. Those are lizards. They're already gross. We don't need to double the population there. Like, no, we good.
when Noah, you've all read your Bible, and Noah, there's a guy in England, he's a historian called Eddie Izzard, and he tells a story, it's a true story, in fact, about Noah and the ark, and Noah and Mrs. Noah were standing at the bottom of the ramp up to the ark, right? And they put various things on the ark, antelopes and bunny rabbits and various other things, and they kept doing that. And then God got on the phone and said,
The phone, the telly.
yeah, got on the phone, and he said, you've forgotten, in his very James Mason voice, you've forgotten tigers. So there was still quite a lot of animals to go. So he said, all right, Dad, I'll put some tigers on. So he put tigers on. Tigers went up the ramp, and that was fine. And so Mrs. went up the top of the ramp to see what was going on and how everything was. And he shouted up. He said, "How's it all going?" And she said, "Well, the tigers have eaten everything." And really, the moral of the story was that he should have put alligators and crocodiles and snakes and various other things and sharks up there first, because then the tigers would have eaten them.
So you just want to kill off all the apex predators and completely mess up the ecology of
No, I like
What that does to
bears.
humans, right?
right? Like,
I like bears. Bears and
You wouldn't like bears if you met one in the wild.
Komodo dragons.
no, they're fine.
Can I say something about the snake thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I read this and I had a few thoughts. One, give snakes their legs back. Did they have legs at some point?
Apparently.
Did they had legs?
Yeah.
There's fossilized records that prove they at one point had multiple legs. I was talking about this with my friend the other day. They kind of just look like an intestinal tract, like an like they look like one intestinal tract that hasn't evolved into a person yet. And like the boa python is going to be like the largest human in the world if it ever evolves all the way, because it's just like this gigantic intestinal tract basically. Like, it's just like a head, and then it poops, and it's one long line, so I can't imagine it had legs at any point. If it didn't, why are we helping it evolve?
Well, I feel that about
Question is,
sharks.
have we cured cancer or ALS? Like, aren't there
yeah.
things we can be spending our time on right now, guys?
Exactly.
Like, besides like little cyborg legs for snakes. Like, I'm just, they, to each their own interests. But
I totally agree. Like, I would rather cure cancer, cure ALS. Make just like my life. I want my life more comfortable. Like, make technology that makes just us happier.
Yeah,
We don't have to be helping snakes evolve. They're doing it on their own. They live in their own little world. Like, it's like scientists think these creatures are just going to not evolve if we don't intervene.
Andrei, why do you think snakes hate us?
I've never been a fan of snakes because they don't have arms or legs, and that's the one thing that makes me not like snakes. So
You think you'd like a snake with arms and legs?
it's just weird that
like
they
a
don't
king
have
cobra
them.
comes like walking up to you with its arms.
How
and legs,
often
and you're
have
like,
you
"Oh,
encountered a
mommy,
king
what's up?"
cobra? Like, we never really encounter snakes. If we do, we'll see them because now they have arms and legs.
Hey,
So-
they could hitchhike.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could stand up on the
Cassidy, as
highway and thumb a ride.
a youngster, how do you feel about snakes?
I don't understand how they move. I don't know how they move. They
They
just
don't know
slither
how they
around.
move. They just slither.
And I feel like we shouldn't mess with that. And just like leave them alone. They're good where they are.
Yeah, but using technology in a way that takes just small impulses from certain spots that are maybe remnants can lead to technology that will help humans who have lost limbs or whatever regain. It's all just a forward step in
Yeah, but
technology.
in the meantime, you're helping snakes.
Well, that is
Amen. Amen.
I'd feel even worse if it were like helping cockroaches or something.
Exactly.
We don't need to help cockroaches. They're
No,
going
we
to
do
live long
not.
past
Yeah.
us.
Okay, question. Has anybody here ever been, besides me, ever been chased by a snake?
I mean, does it count if you just see it and then run away screaming and don't know whether or not it's following you?
Like walking through the woods or near a riverbed and you come across a
That implies
rabbit.
that you turned
Walking
around
through
to
the
see
woods.
whether
Is
or
that a
not
song?
it was approaching.
No, yes. So, like you basically with a rattlesnake, you generally speaking don't see it. You hear it first. So you like hear the rattle and it's an unmistakable sound, and you turn around and you're already too close to the snake, and so you try to move back, but the snake is already pissed that you're that close to it. So you move back and the snake moves towards you, and you stop. The snake stops because snake's not sure what you're gonna do.
This is kind of like the law with the recording of the police. If you get too close,
Right? Right?
What was the distance between you and the snake?
I'm sure it was less than 8 feet. I'm not sure.
Did it chase you? Did
So
you get
broken
chased by a
the law.
snake?
Did you get chased by a snake when you were a kidly?
Yeah,
When
I
you
did.
were ickle?
Well, like in my teens, yes. I don't know that there's anything that I have experienced like in nature that is more frightening. So I'm all against giving these little fuckers feet and
Jeremy
legs.
thought he was being chased by a snake. It turned out to be dead, but
These bastards! I'm standing getting into one of my cars.
God, it was
once,
funny.
And
Was the staff helping you get into one of your cars?
actually, yes. And I'm standing there trying to get in this freaking car, and my eldest son points. He says, "Have you seen that snake, Dad?" And it's
You
a
said,
joke. I hate
"Nah."
snakes, right? And I went, "Yeah, right." It's the sort of thing they say, And he said, "No, that snake down there." And I looked down, and there was this huge fucking snake. And so I decided the simplest thing to do was to go straight upwards. So I did. And I was trying to climb onto the roof of the car. And they're all pissing themselves, stupid. And they went after this snake. And the poor old snake...
Did you explain what had actually happened to the snake?
Well, they'd been after the snake with a bow and arrow.
No, that wasn't the one.
Wasn't it?
That
Oh.
was the one that James actually ran over with the lawnmower.
Oh.
So
Sorry.
it was dead. But it managed to slide over to die near your car. And then you went over and stood there and obviously didn't notice it. Sorry.
Missing
I'm going to
Sid.
support you on this one, Jeremy. I feel
Thank
like
you.
on top of the car was the right decision. Get out of the line of fire. I support you 100% on that. And also, don't turn around to see if it's chasing you still. Lou.
That was a very good question. I wondered
He
where
was
he
laughing
was too.
himself sick. What can I say?
He and the gardener thought it was hilarious. So there we are. Now, Empire Online have listed the top 6 movie bad guys as Snake Man, Darth Vader, Joker, Hannibal Lecter, Loki, Hans Gruber, and Hans Landa, whoever he is. Which would you like to play in a movie? Right. So, who
How
would
come
you
they're all
like?
guys?
Yeah. Good point. Are there any nasty
Interesting
ladies?
Gender
that you
bias in
mentioned that.
film. I'm
Yeah.
just going to go ahead and throw it out there.
I'm not familiar with what you're referring to, Meredith. Are you
Oh,
implying
I'm sorry.
that
Have
there's
you
a-
had your eyes closed for the last, I don't know, however many centuries of film?
I don't remember that
so
happening either.
the only woman that I recall from the list, and like this particular list had like the 20 top villains of all time. The only woman that made the list, if I remember correctly, is Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched was
Really?
nasty, but Cruella de Vil was pretty
Cruella de
damn
Vil.
I think
awful.
Cruella was in the list.
I mean, she killed puppies, bro. Puppies.
Or a
Like,
coat.
right? That's a universal bad.
She didn't even eat them.
The Wicked Stepmother. Yeah.
What
okay,
about
that's
the
gender bias.
witch?
Clearly
in,
gender bias.
the Kansas witch lady.
The Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, the
She
Wicked Witch
creeps
of the
me
West.
out
could say
still
it
to this
together.
day, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
There was Harley Quinn, the other poison ivy and all that. They're not really that evil. They're just kind of the girls.
Again, gender bias in film.
The Wicked Witch of the West.
I think she's pretty freaking creepy. I'm sorry. She
Yeah.
summons flying monkeys that cackle at you, bro. That is
Monkeys.
creepy. I don't care what you say.
She killed her own sister, right?
Right?
At the beginning, yeah. she's pretty evil.
She didn't kill her sister. The house landed on her sister.
She planned it. She probably
was behind
pushed
it.
her sister right underneath the house as it was
Very
coming down.
possibly. No,
She wanted them shoes, bro.
No, that's why she was mad at Dorothy.
Alena, who would you like to play as if you want to? If you suddenly get a movie part comes to you.
Yeah, which
and,
evil person?
and
Just saying.
you'd like to play an evil person. Who would it be? And it can be anybody you like.
An evil character in a film.
Yeah, stop rubbing your hands together like that.
Yeah,
It's sort
an
of
evil character in a film. Who would I play? I don't know.
But she would have a Russian accent, wouldn't she?
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher. A very
Maggie's here.
yes, truly evil.
Yeah, we'll go to war. I don't care. Tony Blair's a pissant. He can't take my seat.
Well, Tony Blair wasn't born when.
Yeah, no, that's how I know.
Okay, Lewis, who would you want to play?
So, I think I want, of that list of 6, I think I would have the most fun with Hans Gruber, the bad guy from Die Hard. Die Hard, thank you. Yes. Alan Rickman was so very perfect in that role. He seemed to have such a fun time just being sadistic and enjoying himself while doing it, and like being the smartest guy in the room, and like there was just all kinds of flair and style that he had as the bad guy that I think that would be
Who's the bad guy, the actor who's always the bad guy in Sherlock Holmes, and he's been in various other films. He was in a James Bond movie as well.
No. Great Day in the Morning. What is his name? I'll have to look it up.
He was in not the latest Bond movie, but the one before.
So that is the actor that plays Hans Landa in Inglourious Basterds, the Quentin Tarantino version of Inglourious Basterds, and Christoph Waltz.
No, Christoph Waltz
is.
No, it's not Christoph Waltz. He's an English guy. I know who you mean by Christoph Waltz. There's another guy.
From Austria.
Sorry?
He's Austrian.
There's another English guy, and I can't remember his name.
Well, back to the question of
back to this
women.
question. Yes, sorry.
Who was the evil teacher in Harry Potter who became the headmistress?
I can't think of that actress's name. Dolores Umbridge.
Oh, that was a really
She might
nasty.
be the nastiest.
Helena Bonham Carter's character was awesome. That looked like so much fun.
Was strange though. She was just crazy. Like Dolores, Umbridge was
evil.
Umbridge was like straight, pure, like Republican in a pink costume. Like she was definitely like. Yeah. I'm more afraid of her than Bellatrix Lestrange. Lestrange is going to kill you and just like move on.
Lestrange is fun. Like that'd be a fun character.
But at least you're just going to get blown up. Like Umbridge is going to torture you to death first. Like definitely.
With the pin on the hand.
Bro, she's definitely all about that pain and suffering.
I don't know that I'd want to play her because I can't look at that actress ever again and not see Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah. It's just like playing any kind of high school teacher. They're all like that. You walk into a high school teacher, not all of them, I don't know. You walk into a high school teacher's room, you're like, excuse me, I disagree with your viewpoint. They're like, would you like to sit there and be quiet and not open your mouth? And why don't you put your feet like that? And why don't you put your hands like this? You know, they're very, very weird. The teachers are very scary, almost all of them. Sorry, I didn't mean to be loud.
How do you feel about that, Andrei? Do you feel like high school teachers are all evil?
I like my teachers.
I like some of them.
Yeah.
The ones that I don't like, I have nicknames for still to this day.
I can see it, Alena doing the Helena Bonham Carter act. Yeah, you could do that. What about Cassidy? Which evil? Who would you like to play evil?
You can even go anime.
Truly evil.
Now you're really opening up the box.
That
closes the box.
See, I feel like so many evil characters are played by like the perfect actor/actress for them. But if I had to play someone, I don't know.
That's a great one.
I don't know. Like,
You burned the book before she could read it. She doesn't know which one she wants to pick.
I guess I can't think of any like evil people right now. I'm blanking.
You can't think of any evil people?
I would love to play Sir Jeremy Taylor.
Oh.
He's not Sir Jeremy. He's Lord Jeremy.
Well, from your list, I think Loki's probably the most interesting to me. I like how he's a master of illusion, and he dances a very fine line. Like, he's not a full-blown villain. Because, like, to me, he's not even the villain of that series. He's more, like, manipulated by Thanos and everything else. But who would I like to play?
Wait, isn't there like a female Loki?
There.
Like,
direct that
who
question
was
to the
in
Marvel nerd in the
Loki?
corner. But who would
The
I like
show?
to play, though? The answer to that, it'd have to be the Shinigami's in Death Note.
Really?
Yes.
Death Note got boring at the end.
I'd like to be the Shinigami, just watching from a distance, with a minor amount of control, but more control than it appears.
I want to be the female Loki. I've decided.
Jeremy, if you had to be a bad guy, who would you be?
I'm not sure. It's a difficult one as to whether or not you're a good bad guy or a nasty evil bad guy.
So you get to pick. You can either be a good bad guy or you can be completely nasty. Which one immediately appeals to you, and what bad guy fits the bill?
The Saint.
The Saint. As a bad guy.
Well, he is a bad guy. He's a naughty good guy.
So
it's like Robin Hood. He's a bad
see.
guy, you know. I mean, Robin Hood, in fact, perhaps if he was real, stole from the rich and kept it. You know.
I mean, he shared a little bit, so it's forgivable. Like,
yeah,
it's like years off the crime.
It's like tax officers, you know. They steal from the poor, and that's that.
I want to be Magneto. I changed my mind. Magneto's the best one.
I love
Andrew
Magneto.
Scott is the guy I'm thinking.
Andrew Scott. So you were actually talking about the new Sherlock.
Yeah, the new Sherlock. He's going to go on to be truly Mr. True Evil, because he's been evil in a Bond movie, hasn't he? He was in a Bond. I'm sure he was in a Bond movie.
I think he was in a Bond movie.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a major role.
No, but he was in a Bond movie.
But
and
he is a fantastic Moriarty.
Yeah.
You know, going back to what you said, Alena, and going back to what you said with women, I am surprised that you picked Magneto and not Mystique. Because Mystique, honestly, does more of the manipulation in the storyline. I'm sorry, go ahead, Lewis. I could see you reach.
No, well, I was just saying, like, that makes sense for you, but that's...
No, I'm just saying it's interesting to me because we were talking about that. Because Magneto really, like, without Mystique, Magneto is nothing. I mean, he's not, like, completely nothing, but, like, she saves his ass a lot of times, bro.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they definitely are a dynamic duo.
He definitely needs the team, but I like his, like, he's got a whole history and stuff, so, like, he has all this kind of justification behind everything he's doing that comes from, like, his own personal history and a bunch of, like, traumatic experiences he's had in his life that he then is, like, using, and it doesn't make it good what he's doing, but he uses it to justify the whole plan with the evil plan with the team. Mystique is really cool, but I don't connect to her as well as I connect to Magneto. Like, I like that Magneto can destroy Wolverine with no work.
Oh.
Like, Wolverine just shows up and Magneto's like this, and Wolverine's across the floor, he's just got a great power. Like, metal bending, everything is made of metal. So,
Fernando, do you have someone you'd like to play?
There's so many good guys. Like, could be any mob, like Joe Pesci style, or Alex Clockwork Orange, or Hall 9000 from 2001.
Winston Churchill.
No, and from the Fight Club was Tyler
Durden.
That sounds like fun, but I mean, that was a kind of illusion, right? It was the mind of the other guy, right?
No, but the beautiful thing is, like, it is your interpretation of like what would be a good so for me this is interesting to me because we all have like a slightly different tweak on what makes a bad guy interesting to watch, and so like I'm getting all of this
Kaiser Soze.
Kaiser
Soze. Yes. That's
But
a good one.
because there's so many good bad guys,
It's a difficult one, isn't it? But I wonder, and I feel for our listeners abroad, you know, in different countries, maybe they have different bad guys. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
oh, yeah, they gotta write to us.
And, you know, I wonder if there will come a time, as in England, for anybody who's English, November the 5th is Guy Fawkes Night, and this is where kids in England have bonfires and they set off fireworks to commemorate Guido Fawkes, who tried to blow up the then Houses of Parliament and kill the King. I wonder whether they will do. I wonder whether or not.
Commemorating catching him.
Yes, true. First example of death by cop.
Yeah.
But anyway, whether someone like Putin will ever be seen as a bad guy, you know, in fiction, in I don't know, whatever. So we're now moving on. Last week, we were talking with Cassidy about cakes. For some reason, it came up, and we talked about chocolate biscuit cake, and she said there is no such thing. I don't believe it. And we actually managed to come along with a chocolate biscuit cake tonight, and we're going to hand around a bit more chocolate biscuit cake for you guys to try. And for anybody who's listening, this chocolate biscuit cake has all sorts of connections, certainly in my family, but also, funnily enough, in the royal family. And I'm not joking when I say that. It's perfectly true. When Prince William got married, they insisted on having a big wedding cake, as one does, you know. But what they actually wanted was chocolate biscuit cake. Because that's what they'd grown up with, and we have some of the chocolate biscuit cake here that people are noshing on. I have the instructions, and a chef used to say, follow the recipe. And if you're quick, you can write this down. It's 100, I do it in grams, but 100 grams of butter, 75 grams of golden syrup, cocoa powder, 25 grams, raisins. I put raisins and sultanas in. Glacé cherries, chopped up glacé cherries are nice. Some biscuits, 200 grams of biscuits. So you want dry, crunchy biscuits for that. Okay, don't use soft biscuits. Cookies, you know, Maryland cookies will do, or just ordinary cookies. And 150, the recipe calls for 150 grams of plain chocolate. Now, I would add to that recipe another 200, 300 grams, which is a couple of large bars of chocolate. What you do is you melt the everything in a pan, and a bain-marie type pan, so you put one pan inside another pan with water in it, and you melt the golden syrup, the cocoa powder, the butter, raisins, cherries, all that stuff. You melt it till it's all nice and done. Then you crunch up a load of biscuits. The best way to do that is to throw them in a big Ziploc bag and whack them with something heavy, and then they go in the mix, right? And then you add in the chocolate. Now, having done all that, you've got this sort of sludgy, chocolatey mix in your pot, and you butter up a dish, and you slop it all in the thing, and then the idea is you whack it in the fridge. Now, here is the difference, the Taylor difference. We then melt a whole load more chocolate.
Because that's what it really needs.
Because it needs more chocolate. And we then, after a couple of 3 hours, you take it out of the fridge. When it's just started to go off, it's started to solidify, you pour the chocolate on top. This is not, what do you call it, frosting? It's not frosting.
Not frosting.
Not frosting. It's chocolate. And then you put it back in the fridge, and you leave it there overnight if you can. This one hasn't been in the fridge long enough, but you whack it in there. And as a friend of my wife's used to say, It's very nice for eating in the shower, dear, with a close friend.
I gotta admit, Jeremy, you lost me as soon as you said whack it in the fridge. I
Amen to
started
that.
fantasizing.
Whack it in the fridge,
and-
man.
yeah.
Gotta whack it in the fridge. Just whack it in the fridge.
I usually just whack it in my room.
Oh, wow. TMI, Andrei, TMI.
Had to go there.
Jeremy, this is fantastic. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Again, Susan from marketing has let us down. I'm going to speak to Evo about her, I have to say. But I want to say hello to everybody in Bulgaria, all our friends out there. And
Hi.
we may even put this this recipe up on Facebook. I don't know whether they can get golden syrup out in Bulgaria. Get everything else.
Well, I'm not sure everybody understands what golden syrup is. It's kind of like sweetened corn syrup, except
Carol,
it's thicker.
Carol,
Yeah, but it's thicker.
thicker.
And it's a British thing. You might find it in any British store you got
yeah.
around.
Or World Market or
Yeah.
imports. And Amazon,
It's sort of vanilla flavored
eBay.
thick corn syrup.
So just add
It's,
imitation vanilla in your cake.
If you look up on Amazon golden syrup, you may not be able to get it, but it'll give you an idea of what it is. Okay,
It's not golden shower, it's golden syrup.
Yes, golden syrup. Not
Thank
to be
you. Now I
confused.
don't want any more of this chocolate stuff.
And all that remains is for me, Jeremy Taylor, to say thanks for listening. Remember, all of the 2020, 21, and 22 podcasts can be found for download on your favourite Ko-fi feed channels. Our producer tonight is Neil Rasmussen on his knob. Buzz. It's never right to say knob, is it? It's knobs, because he's controlling two knobs. Yeah, six is it?
knobs.
6 knobs. Yeah.
At the same time.
All at the same time. And I can really only manage one. But there we are. So as I say, you've been listening to Wednesday Night Undress with chocolate and beer and things like that. And I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yay!